call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. on Monday, April 18th, 2022. We have some consent agenda items, which the consent agenda contains the minutes from the April 4th, 2022 Board of Education meeting. It also contains our latest financial transactions. This agenda has one professional staffing recommendation, and another is being recommended to be, Ms. Thomas is being recommended to be principal of the Indian Mountain Middle School. We also have 4 co-curricular staffing recommendations. It also includes a personnel item, which is unneeded for a vote. Listed, each personnel transaction can be listed on your board agenda. I would move to accept the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Arlen, thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. With public comments, we do have a couple of, I'm going to read one, and then we have another, I believe, in person.
Craig, would you be comfortable if I invited people to register?
Please do.
This time? Okay, just one moment. Great. If you'd like to make a public appearance by speaking to the board, please utilize the Q&A portion found at the bottom of your Zoom window. In the Q&A, we would ask that you type your name, address, subject of interest, and whether you have discussed the topic with either a district administrator or President Howery. After submitting the information, I would transfer you over to speak to the board. Thank you.
Craig, while we're waiting for that, I just wanted to recognize we do have Jamie Thomas here today. So, we just made that approval, but I wanted to recognize. So Jamie's here. So welcome aboard, Jamie.
Thank you.
Honor to have you join us.
Thank you, Aaron. So I've got one here that I will read, and this is from Don Shute, 2974 Roit Drive in Stoughton, Wisconsin. I wanted to thank Arlen Halverson for his 27 years of commitment, hard work, dedication, and service to the students, schools, and community through the McFarland School District School Board. It was a pleasure to have served with him. That's Don Shute. He was a former school board member. We have another former member here with us tonight, Tom Allen. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. I am Tom Allen, 6201 Spring Pond Court in McFarland. And I am here to recognize Christine as well as Arlen, mostly Arlen, because I worked with Arlen longer. So when I was 14, Arlen started on the board. And it's been many years. I got to know Arlen back in the early 2000s. I think we worked on a referendum together. And then I was on the board after that. I was on the board with Arlen for about 16 of his, is it 27 or 26? 27. Wow. And in those 16 years, we worked on a lot of different things. I mentioned the referendum, but, and then we had another referendum as well. What I remember about Arlen, and I think is still true, is Arlen always had a vision sort of way beyond what I could see. He would look out 30 years when we were looking the next year. And I always appreciated that. I learned a lot from that perspective. I also learned a lot of farm analogies and metaphors and similes. And so I'll use one now. Arlen really was the horse that pulled the wagon. And we just rode along and he set the direction. Some of the things he did, just behind the scenes, he was, like I said, he was always thinking ahead. He was always trying to prepare the school district for the change in the school district that might come in the next 20 years or 30 years. And so that's how we got the Lacey property, and that's how when we remodeled this building just recently, it was already prepped for the second floor. That was a vision that he had in terms of how the district would grow and what we should be doing. So as a board member coming in, I appreciated that framework had already been set for us, and groundwork had been set for us. And when I was on the board most recently, the same thing. We're looking at the school district's going to grow actually probably in the next 20 or 30 years. Most of it's going to be in Madison. Many of the board members wouldn't have thought that far ahead, but we're prepped for the next 20 years. So Arlen, thank you. I learned a lot. School district really values you and got a lot of value from you in ways that I don't think anyone in the district can know. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
And Christine, it was very nice working with you as well for a very relatively short time. But good luck on your next endeavors as well.
Thank you very much, Tom. Do we have anyone else, Angie?
We have not had anyone else register, no.
Okay, then, we will move along. We have student, yeah,
I believe we have Chloe Gex that has joined us.
do we have Chloe here this evening?
Good evening, everyone.
There she is. All right,
All right, is it okay if I screen share?
absolutely.
Okay, I have a short presentation. I think. Did it work?
I don't think so.
Let me see, I haven't done this for a while. Can you guys see my screen?
Now I think we have
There we
it.
go.
Perfect.
Now
Let me
we
get
got it.
this in present mode. Okay. So I am Chloe Gex. I'm a senior at McFarland High School. I've been to a few of these meetings. This isn't my first one. And I'm going to just be presenting some updates and some things going on at the high school. And if you have any questions or comments or anything, you can just chime in whenever. So updates and events. The first one that I'm talking about tonight is A Midsummer Night's Dream. And on the 28th, 29th, and 30th of this month at 7 p.m., our high school theater department will be putting on the production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Performances will be held at the high school's Black Box Theater, and there are posters all over the high school and some around town. We cannot wait to see the performances they've been working tirelessly on. And admissions for that, it is a $12 admission fee for adults and a $10 admission fee for students or seniors in the community. And the next event that is coming up, it actually occurs in May, and it's on Saturday, May 14th. And so McFarland High School students will be coordinating a crafts and vendor fair from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's held in the gymnasium. There are currently over 20 vendors signed up, and there are more that are coming, and these are all vendors based in McFarland and locally, so that's a pretty cool aspect. And we have a class at the high school called Spartan Headquarters, which is led by Ginger Vorholz. And there's a link on this slide. I don't know if I could share it with anyone if people want. That leads you to the website, showing more information on it. And another exciting thing is DECA ICDC. And so DECA is a club at our school, and 8 students from our high school, DECA chapter, will be traveling to Atlanta, Georgia this Friday. They are competing in a wide variety of events that regard finance, marketing, hospitality, and tourism, business management, and entrepreneurship. We wish the best of luck to all who are traveling and hope they enjoy the trip. And this is really exciting because this is the first year we're able to travel out of state for ICDC, I think, since 2019. So that's pretty big. This Wednesday at 7:30, every band from 6th to 12th grade gets to play at the high school A gym. Each band plays roughly one piece, and then the song Victors and America the Beautiful, which is played all together. The event will be streamed on McFarland Cable, and this is also exciting. This is another event we haven't been able to hold since, I think, 2019 as well. It's a pretty big one in the community and in the band and music world here in McFarland. Now, the junior prom is this Saturday, the 23rd, and we'll be hosting the prom for juniors and seniors. It'll be held at the Brink Lounge in Madison, which is exciting because I don't believe in the history of McFarland we've ever had an off-campus prom, so that's something new. And it is from 7:30 to 11:30, and the theme for the dance is Roaring 20s, so that'll be pretty fun. Students looking forward to it. And we have spring sports that are in full swing currently. We have men's golf, men's and women's ultimate frisbee teams, a men's tennis team, softball, baseball, women's soccer, and then men and women's track and field. And I believe that is the conclusion of my presentation.
Thank you, Chloe.
Yeah, thank you guys for all your time tonight.
Anyone have any questions or comments?
Where is the, what did you say, the break lounge?
Yeah, the Brink Lounge, I believe it's on East Wash,
Oh,
It is.
okay.
downtown, so.
Yeah, it's about
Okay.
3 blocks off the square.
Oh, really? Wow. Cool. Have fun.
That'll be different. I believe you are absolutely correct. I don't think we've ever had an off-site prom before. So, put you on the spot just a little bit. It's gotta be I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it'll be a great time and it'll prove to be an excellent, opportunity for you guys to get out and get away. And
Yeah.
congratulations on just being able
Thank
to
you.
do it.
It looks like Bruce has a hand raised.
Who do we have?
Bruce.
Bruce, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Chloe, I just want to thank you guys in this whole connection. You guys have done such an amazing job of bringing together the various clubs and the activities that are going around the community. And I wasn't quite sure how this was all going to work when I first heard about it. You guys were spinning the ideas last summer. And I just think it's been a really outstanding opportunity for us on the board, but I think the whole greater community. They kind of get a feel for what's going on. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. We really appreciate having the outlet and you guys giving us the time during these meetings to present and share.
Well, thanks again, Chloe. Have a great week.
Yeah, thank you
and,
so much.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, you as well.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, District Administrators Report.
Well, we have several things coming up. The first is next week on April 27th, we have the McFarland Recognition Celebration. So we'll be recognizing several individuals, among those being Christine and Arlen for outgoing board members, but we also have several other staff members that we'll be recognizing. We're going to meet in the building here. What I call the refreshment aspect will be in the high school gymnasium, and the ceremony will be in the PAC. So, next week. And then we have our school board meetings. So, our first one is on May 2nd, and our second one in May is the 16th. The last day of school, so that's how quick it's coming when it's on your calendar, is June 3rd. Graduation is June 5th. And then we have 2 board meetings in June, the 6th and the 20th. So those are coming up. We also have, there's a meeting coming up on this Thursday at 7 o'clock for the landfill proposal. And we haven't talked about this. We're actually going to talk about this as a joint committee with the village at our meeting on May 10th. But they do have an informational meeting coming up Thursday, April 21st from 6:30 to 8 o'clock at the Municipal Center, McFarland. So that if you are interested in hearing the opening presentation prior to our meeting with the village or joint committee on May 10th, that's coming up this Thursday.
Landfill proposal?
Yes, yep. They want to build a new landfill
Right,
by
yeah.
era.
Okay.
If I remember right, I think they want the current one will be full and they want to cap it. I think it's either 2025 or 2030. And then they want to open up the new one that they're discussing.
That's right.
Right across the street.
It's part of the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
If I can interrupt for one moment, we did have someone who registered apparently late to do a public comment. I don't know if you're comfortable
Yeah,
reopening? Okay.
absolutely.
Looks like we have James Hickey on Evans Road that I will be transferring over. Just
The
one moment.
evening wouldn't be complete. There we go.
All right. I'll just transfer Jim to panelist.
Hey, greetings here from Olympia, Washington. Just wanted to congratulate and thank Arlen Halverson for his 27 years of service. Arlen, you provided a boots on the ground, kind of a kitchen table approach to board leadership over the years. And I'd have to agree with Tom Allen a great deal that you also taught maybe some of us that weren't of the agrarian background some agrarian language. But we have yet to adapt, if Scott Brown is somewhere around there, the agrarian calendar, as Aaron Tarnitzer, I suspect, will have a little chuckle. Hey, along with common sense, you always were willing to listen, always willing to take any stakeholder, any side of any equation, argument, or whatever. I saw you basically tame a den of snakes at times, and it was always impressive, Arlen. You had that kind of common sense approach. It's also interesting that you were at one time a kindergartner all the way through 12th grade at McFarland, custodian, and board president. So I don't know that there's many board members in the history of Wisconsin. I suspect there's a few. Perhaps your dad, Truman, because as I recall, Arlen, your father was also a board member out at a school out there in the town of Dunn somewhere. So just thank you very much, Arlen. I'm sorry for any headaches I created you, and I suspect I created a few. And to the rest of you there, I do once again kind of apologize for any headaches. But Arlen, it's a special moment. You are quite a guy, simply put. Christine, thank you for your membership. And no doubt, I do realize I did create some headaches for you. But honestly, from my heart, and I mean this sincerely, you definitely added a perspective that I think the board needed. So with that, you all have a great meeting, and forward. Have a nice evening. And Angie, thank you very much for getting me in. I was pleading to everybody. Aaron, obviously you guys are very well attuned to the board meeting because you aren't picking up cell phones or anything. So, okay, I'm ready for it to say you can't hear me and you're going to cut me off. I know how it goes. So take care, you guys. Congrats, Arlen.
Thank you, Dr. Hickey. Okay, we have some discussion items here. The first one being strategic goals and action plans.
One of the things that I would think would be very appropriate is that with the new board coming on in May, actually the last week of this month, is if we planned another work session for the board where we could sit down and with the two new board members, review the information that came in from the survey that we put out to the staff and community at the beginning of the year, where we asked them what they wanted to see in the next superintendent, which we have. And part of the discussion was after the new superintendent was hired, we want to involve that individual in the strategic plan. We've been working on that now for a while, but I think it would be appropriate if the 5 board members and the administrators you deemed appropriate could sit down, go through the survey material. As I said, the second question was what they wanted to look for in the strategic plan. See what that says to each of you, and then put that and determine the next step so that we could continue make some progress. We did show a potential format that we could use with the one draft goal that we could use. But I would say one of the next things to do then to move us forward would be to create a work session. My guess is you probably want about 3 hours, so if you did it in the evening, I'd suggest 6 o'clock to 9. If you wanted it on a Saturday, then I think, 8 to 11, 9 to 12.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
I do think it's important that we pick a date when all 5 can be there.
Yes. Yep. Angie, I trust you can make that magic happen.
I will send out something.
And I can send something out, the 2 of us could create when the dates are that will fit everybody's schedule.
Perfect.
And the next one is the update on our transition plan. Aaron and I have been working very closely, actually been working closely since the beginning of the school year when I came, but ever since Aaron has been selected to be the next superintendent, We meet on a quite regular basis. What we have determined is that if there's a decision that basically impacts only this year, then I make those decisions. If the decision is going to be something that's going to go longer than this year, Aaron and I sit down and we discuss what it is. He has input into what he thinks the decision should be, because he's going to have to bear the consequences of that decision afterwards. So we chat a lot, but at least it's my hope that when July 1st comes, he'll be able to hit running, and he knows that if he needs any assistance after that, I'm just a phone call away. Anything you want to share?
No, I totally agree. Yeah, we talk, we've always talked a lot, but we've really been partnering quite well over the last few weeks, particularly now because most everything we're doing is planning for next year and beyond.
It practically is next year.
I know.
It's unreal. Okay, business manager's report, I think.
Well, I've handed out a copy that Jeff provided. And basically, if you take a look, the middle section is probably the most important. And these are some of the final pieces that will be coming to you next month. One is compensation recommendations for support staff, directors, supervisors, and administration. We're also going to be taking a look at the professional staff longevity pay. And we're going to get an update on our use of the ESSER 3 federal fundings and how we plan to use those monies basically to manage our deficit, since the legislature decided not to provide us with any additional revenue during this biennial. But those are the primary things that Jeff Mahoney wrote out in greater detail, but those are the major things within his report.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Bruce, anything? Okay, then, we can move on to action items. The first of which is discussion and possible action on the COVID-19 protocols.
Well, we have had an uptick. I mean, we were running extremely well at 0, 1, or 2 cases. Today we are at 15, probably Easter break, new variants. But at this time, we're still not recommending any changes. If we were to see a spike continuing and growing, we may come back with a change, but at this point, we're not looking at making any changes to our current protocols.
Okay, I know I did hear something on one of the news programs this morning that the East Coast was experiencing an uptick. And actually, maybe, Kate, if I could put you on the spot, could you share with the rest what we talked about?
Well, so we're starting to see some uptick even in the clinics, but I have a brother that lives over in the UK, and so typically it seems like everything that happens over there happens first, and then about 3 to 4 weeks later, we see the same thing. So about 2 weeks ago is when they really saw their uptick, had a lot of positive cases, and now things are slowing down. So I would expect it will probably follow suit here in the next 3 weeks or so.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Given that we're not going to do anything there, we can move to,
9B.
yep. Discussion and possible action on WEVA, Four Lakes Education Charters Review Committee recommendation. At this time, we recommend approval of the administrative recommendation to renegotiate and extend the charter contracts with the recommendations contained in the district WEVA review summary.
Well, I'd like to introduce Dr. Scott Brown. And he is the one who's been working with WEVA and all that, and as part of his responsibilities is helping take a look at the various contracts with our virtual schools. You have a report, but I will turn it now over to Scott.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dr.
Join up
Brown.
here, that way you'll have the mic.
Sure. I didn't know I was going to speak. But I just happen to have something prepared. No, I don't. But, so the report has been reviewed by 3 of the board members prior to this board meeting. 2 who are on the committee, and then Christine, who has served as the WEVA board liaison. So I don't want to labor through it. I mean, the board certainly has had time to review it, but I'll take any questions in just a second. But just as I was introduced, I wanted to introduce you to the person that I work with the most at WEVA. She's the new administrator there, Dr. Sarah Cutler, right here.
Everybody.
And it's just been, as you know, both with the school district and with WEVA, or you may not know, there was some time of transition. And it's really been a really great year. I mean, it really has been a good year. Certainly Christine could comment on that. She's been attending the board meetings as well. But I think we're off to a good start. I think we have a good plan with this five-year review and recommendations for all of you. So I think that should set things up well. The next step in the process will be for us to work on crafting language in the areas we want to change it. We'll work some maybe with Shayna Lewis, also with Sarah, and also Stride, who is the provider of management services for the virtual charter. And otherwise, you'll also hear from Sarah in a report that will take place in October on the four charter schools that Four Lakes sponsors. So with that, are there any questions on the report?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you.
I don't think so.
Well,
Go ahead.
I don't know if I have a question, more of a comment, sorry. First of all, thank you so much for doing all your work, and I want to point out and thank Dr. Cutler. I know that you both have been working together a lot to pull this all together, and in reading the draft and the recommendations that you created, I'm assuming, Dr. Cutler, they all sound really great with you as well. Yeah.
Oh, yes, we've definitely been a co-creation and continual collaboration, which is how I hope to continue to work with the district and with Dr. Brown and all of you.
I do want to say I've been attending all of the board meetings, and I had the privilege of sitting in on the retreat, and you've been doing a wonderful job, Dr. Cutler. I think, we were introduced to WEVA in a really unique way with the pandemic. With that transition, as well as you coming on less than a year ago, if not, is it about a year now?
The 3rd of May.
Yay, congratulations.
Yeah. But lots been done in a year.
The one thing that I've really appreciated is how open you've been to getting feedback from the district. I felt nothing but an open door to hearing things that we've experienced with the shared students going into any of the schools really. So I just want to say I appreciate that. The one thing that I'd like to point out, and I hope that you do in the coming year, is this isn't at you anymore, Dr. Cutler, is have a regular, it's in here, but have a regular connection with Dr. Cutler, because attending the meetings and getting information each month, there hasn't been an opportunity to share that as much. So either being on the agenda as a standing item or however you want to do it, and then it sounds like Dr. Cutler will be coming in October to present. So I feel like the communication channels are all there, and that would be a really great thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We look forward
Thank you
to it.
again
Right.
for all your work. I thought the recommendations were spot on.
And when you think about it, the virtual school, while it's run by an independent board, an independent nonprofit board, is sponsored by you, and their attendance is really similar to the attendance of the district as a whole. So this is a big part of our district overall. So I think it's important to have those communication points.
I'd just like to say thank you to Christine too. She's been an incredible partner and thought partner, and it's been a pleasure to have her serve on our board as liaison as well. So it's been great to collaborate, and I hope that whoever comes to serve with us this upcoming year enjoys our time, and I look forward to working with Erin and collaborating further to really benefit all students that we serve.
Christine will be a tough act to follow, though.
She will.
Right.
We hear that a lot about her.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
So we
Thank
are
you.
recommending approval, and we
Yep.
have a sample motion for you.
Yep. At this time, we recommend approval of the administrative recommendation to renegotiate and extend the charter contracts with the recommendations contained in the district WEVA review summary. Do I have a motion? Or do I have a, that'll be the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Christine. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is action on Dane County New Teacher Project, Shared Services Agreement for the 2022-2023 school year.
The other day, we actually had a ceremony recognizing our mentors and our mentees. And the Dane County New Teacher Project is the overall group in Dane County that we are a part of and that we are recommending to stay a part of, in which we help mentor our teachers. Some of the things that we do is when our new teachers and mentors get together, they get together not only with individuals from our own district, but also from other Dane County districts, so they can share their experiences across districts. And so that if we do find that we are having a new roadblock or something that comes up, we can then prepare as a group for how we want to meet that to make the success of our new teachers as great as possible. I was actually a superintendent of Mount Horeb when we started the Dane County New Teacher Project. So I was there when it was first inseminated many years ago. And it has benefited, I think, many teachers, both the mentors, I think, grow, and the mentees, and we recommend continuing to be a part of this program.
I know this district has always been known for a strong mentor program, and it behooves us to continue that. Do I have a motion to approve administration recommendations?
I so move.
Arlen, do I have a second?
I have a question before we move forward. Do you survey the new teachers to see if they find this helpful, and do you get feedback from them?
Yes, I mean, Melissa does, but yes,
Okay.
we do. In fact, we talked about that we had our mentor-mentee luncheon, and we were reviewing some of the things that people found valuable at each of the tables and changes they'd like us to consider going forward. So yes, we do.
Okay, so they have this mentor program with other new teachers in the district, but do we also pair with people here?
Yes,
So-
that's who we do pair.
Okay.
We pair our new teachers with mentors in the district, so they work together in district, but then they get together with
People
new
outside.
from outside, but a lot of the time is spent within our own district, but we do also make things available. And I see Melissa's up there to capture any thoughts that I might have missed.
No, that's exactly right. There are mentors within the district, but then the consortium, the Dane County New Teacher Project, offers events for new teachers, and it also offers training and support for our mentors, coaches, and then administrators as well, for how administrators can be part of a partnership to help new teachers really accelerate their learning and get up to speed as quick as they can.
And do you have to take part in this as a new teacher, or is it optional?
There are series of 5 2-hour, 1.5-hour events throughout the school year designed for new teachers. We ask that all new teachers attend one, and if they do attend one or more, they can earn points for their participation in it. The feedback we've gotten from new teachers about those events is sometimes, it was coming up and I just had a long day and it was really hard and I didn't really want to go. But as soon as I got there, I was so glad I went. It was so great to connect with other teachers who are kind of experiencing the same things I was. And a lot of times, if new teachers attend one of the early ones in September or October, they end up attending 2 or 3 or more events throughout the school year. So the feedback in general is that they do find those very valuable.
Okay.
And the state of Wisconsin has mandated that districts have a mentorship program because they've realized it's helped keep teachers in the profession for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's new though, isn't it? That was never mandated that I can remember.
Well,
It's been mandated for about the last 15 years that you have a mentor in your first 2 years of teaching, and then about 2 years ago, they required in your first 3 years in the profession, the district provides a mentor.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Kate?
Certainly.
You get an answer?
Yep,
Okay, I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next is action on the 2022-2023 school board meeting dates. Do I have a motion to approve?
And they basically are the same that you have for this
Right.
one. What my suggestion would be going forward, and I think they've dealt in date, is that normally this happens at the reorganization meeting. That's what I've been used to. So this is actually the first time in my career that you're gonna do it before the reorganization meeting. Because that way the new board members can make a determination if the new board wants to meet at the same time. And I think that you may look at that at the next year, but right now, it seems to be working. It seems that, so that
First and
recommendation is
third,
at 7 o'clock.
first and third Monday of each month at 7 o'clock,
With some exceptions, as noted in the.
with an occasional exception, right. Any discussion on that? Is any issues with it? Feel comfortable? Should continue?
Well, I think it's, if I can have some.
Please.
I prefer that the board wait to get your input from the two board members and to just have an in-depth discussion about it. Because a couple of years ago, I suggested maybe possibly changing the day of the week, the time.
Okay,
I'd like to pick up that discussion if we could.
all right. I'm comfortable with that. Then,
You might want to at least make a motion to hold the next board meeting, so you do have one properly scheduled on May 2nd.
okay. Is that acceptable with the rest, including you, Bruce, that we table confirming meeting dates until the two newly elected members are on board?
I think in some ways it does make sense. It's been nice to kind of know that there's certain continuity. So, I guess I don't want to get ahead of that, but I do think it makes sense to let those two new members have a say in this, yes.
So,
But-
I do want to note that the two May meetings are already scheduled, so we're looking at June of 2022 and going forward.
okay. Anyone like to make a motion? I can give it a try. I would move that we hold the next two school board meetings at,
It's not necessary to vote, those are already in place, those are already acted upon as of last year.
okay.
So you don't need to take any.
So we don't need to take any
You
action
can
then?
just table it.
Yep. Thank you, Tom. Action on summer 2022 extended contracts.
Well, this is the time of year when we have several people that will be working over the summer.
Yep.
So this is where we have provided you a list of the summer contracts with the individuals in the areas. So we would recommend approval of the extended contracts for this summer.
Any questions? Someone care to make a motion?
I so move.
Okay, Arlen, do I have a second?
A second.
Christine? All those any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0, and we will make it a point to schedule that sometime when the two new members are on board and we can discuss details further. Action on recommended WEVA, Destination Career Academy Insight, Wisconsin Statute 118.408G, student transfers to resident districts.
And this is one we've had multiple times on the agenda. When certain students, just for whatever reason, are not working out, we can send them back to their home district. So this time, I think we have 17 individuals that we are recommending that, and I have a sample motion in the packet.
I'll move to recommend the presented students return to their home districts from WEVA, DCA, ISWI as allowed under the Wisconsin statute 118.408G.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay? Motion carries 5-0. We are at a board comments section. So any of the board members have any comments they would like to make?
Go ahead, Christine.
I'll start before you guys give
There you
comments.
go.
I really just want to thank you both for all of your time and service. I know, Arlen, you've been on the board for a very long time, and obviously you've done a lot. You've showed so much passion in this community, and I remember as a student you being a bus driver and driving me to my swim meets. So it's just great to see you continuing on and working so hard for McFarland. And I'm sure that even off the school board, we'll still see each other, and I may hear a thing or two from you. So, and then Christine, I really want to thank you for everything you've done for this community. I think in the last 3 years, you've brought a voice, to this board that was absolutely needed. In addition, you secured a grant that's been so amazing for this district, and none of that could have been possible had you not joined the school board. So thank you so much for all of your time, all of your understanding, and all of your really well thought out commentary when sometimes we were missing a bigger picture.
Thank you.
These are designed for your outgoing comments.
Well, no. Arlen, I wouldn't be on the school board. I never would have joined the school board had it not been for you.
Yeah.
That first year, back in 2010, I think it was,
Yeah.
I didn't decide to make a run for the school board until it was after the date that signatures needed to be handed in, so I ran as a write-in, and Arlen became my campaign manager. He's out painting signs and building signs and pounding signs in, and luckily enough, I was able to join the board at that time and serve under Arlen as our esteemed president. And I can't really thank you enough for a perspective. And people might, maybe they know, but don't know that Arlen and I have been friends since 1970 or so. So
Yeah.
we've known each other for a day or two, and his perspective is always welcome. His analogies are always spot on, generally bovine subject somehow. But, I've always thought about you that you're a heck of a lot smarter than you somehow want people to think you are. And I think you use that to your advantage, and I congratulate you on that because you fooled them all for a long time. You really did. And I don't know that anybody's ever served the district the way that you have, in all these different capacities. And one thing's always shown through, and that's your love for kids. It'll be 12 years for myself after this upcoming year, and I've never heard you say anything or seen you make a decision or a vote that at the end of the day wasn't what was best for the kids. You always understood that we were stewards for the village, for the community. We were leadership for the staff and teachers, but the real priority at the end of the day has always been the kids. And I've always appreciated that, and I've always tried to follow in your footsteps there. So thank you.
Thanks.
And Christine, I have to, I would echo everything that Kate said. You brought a perspective to the board that was so badly needed. You brought a voice, you represented people who are underrepresented, and you've brought things to people's attention that has needed to be brought to their attention for a long, long time. I appreciate you for everything you do and how hard you work. I don't know that I've ever associated with another board member who puts in the time and effort that you do. And again, and I've never heard you say anything or make a vote that in your heart didn't feel was what was absolutely best for the kids. You represent the underrepresented. You're a voice, you're a beacon for them. And I know that you'll carry on in our village. I hope you stay in the village because we need what you bring. So thank you as well. Okay. That's enough for me. Anybody else out there got anything? Now's the time. Bruce.
Thanks. I don't know how I'm going to follow up what you two have said, because I think you've said it so eloquently. Christine, it has been really a privilege. I know before I even got started, I was picking your brain constantly, trying to understand what this job was going to entail. And you are such an interesting person. You're so brilliant, I think. And to me, you're a bit of a matryoshka doll, which is one of those nesting dolls. The more I get to know you, the more I realize I don't really know her, and I just keep on learning things. And I think that's a real compliment to your personality. Just realize, Christine, how much you are going to shape our strategic plan. I think in some ways, the whole central core of this equity is going to be because of your work. And I think that is going to be your lasting legacy. So anyway, thank you very much. And Arlen, when I first came here in 1976 as a teacher, I remember late nights, I'd be finished, or I'd finish up after coach and whatnot. And this young kid came in. And Arlen, I want you to realize, I always kind of feel like in some ways, you're so much older than I am, or more experienced, and then I realize, no, I'm quite a bit older than he is. But at the same time, this young guy, again, I'm going to echo what Jim Hickey said, your common sense approach. It's something that we all need. And I hope you realize how much you've influenced me. I also hope you understand that in some ways you are the model that I wanted to be as a school board member. I won't use exactly his language, but I can remember so often this guy would come into school and he'd say, "Hey, Fish, how's it going?" And then he would say something like, "And don't give me any you know what." He wanted to hear what it was. And I never had anyone like that before. And that just meant so much to me. Someone I could talk to. And over the years, we talked a lot. And we talked a lot as I was running, trying to get a feel for this thing. And I hope you understand that I'm going to continue to treasure our relationship, but I also hope you'll understand and hope Peggy won't mind too much that I'll be calling you occasionally from time to time and say, "Arlen, what the hell do I do now?" So anyway, just thank you, both of you. It has really been a pleasure. It has been an absolute pleasure and a joy to serve both of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bruce. Will?
Anything you want to say?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Christine?
Thank you. I kind of wrote mine out because I had a lot of thoughts, which isn't surprising, I'm sure. So the last 3 years have not at all been what I expected when I was elected in April of 2019, which is why I think I struggled so much to write these comments. So even though it was only 3 years, it felt like I was on the board for 27, like Arlen. But honestly, as challenging as many moments were during that time, now that I'm at the end of it, I'm filled with gratitude for what I learned and very humbled by what I still don't know, because there's a lot. But I do have some thoughts that I'd like to share that hopefully you might find valuable as kind of a new person to the board, relatively new, but has had an opportunity to reflect on these 3 years. First of all, thanks to Megan and Tom for running, and congratulations to both of you. I am grateful that the full board will be moving forward with the 5 of you. I have utter faith in your ability to move our district forward, so I'm really excited about that. And I just want to say ditto to every other board member that I have worked with, how much I've learned from each and every one of you, and just the respect I have for each and every one of you. I've learned so much. So just a couple of thoughts as I move off. One of the things that I think a lot about is transparency, and that's been something that's come up a lot of times throughout our surveys. And so if I were to tell the new board members or the year-old board members, keep asking the questions. Sometimes I feel like we get an option of very similar to how you might work with a toddler. You get the red shirt or the green shirt, knowing that red or green are the 2 shirts that everyone would find acceptable. And sometimes we have to ask, what about the yellow shirt? Or what don't we know? Or what do we need to know about other things that are happening? So just ask questions. What are the consequences of the choices? Who's being helped by the decision and who's being hurt? So please just keep asking those questions. We make so many really big decisions, and we're accountable for them, and just make sure that they're the right ones. I'd also, one of the things that I've been thinking about is voices, the voices in the district, and hoping that you listen to all of them, not just the ones who write multiple emails or write in all caps or scream at us. It's often the quietest voices or the lone voice who are saying the wisest or most profound things. And frankly, I don't think we ask students enough what they need. I think we should be listening more to students. I've always respected teachers. I hope my kids have respected teachers, although I'm sure there are some blanket apologies I should give to a lot of teachers for the 3 boys. But my respect has grown tenfold over the past 3 years, truly has. I'm aware of no other profession that has to defend itself as much as teachers do. And I wonder if it's because we all went to school, we think we know how to teach. I go to doctors and accountants regularly, and I never tell them how to do their jobs. So I want to just point out how much they've been vilified and how the vitriol that's gone towards them. It can be really horrifying when I think about what's been said to them. We're losing and have lost expert teachers in the district, and the numbers of people entering schools of education have decreased dramatically. We don't pay them enough for what they're worth, and they're not treated as the professionals they are. And I think we need to recognize this is a district, state, and nation. I don't think we're the only district, of course, facing this, but I really do feel like we need to make a change in that way. I'd also recommend, these aren't recommendations. I'm a very reflective person, if you knew me, one of my layers, I guess, and I tend to reflect and think back, and I go back to things. But really support each other. I mean, we've all been, harassed or bullied, and things have been said, very personal attacks have been made. And although it's part of the job, it's what we've signed up for, what's really made a difference for me is when someone on the board or someone else had said, hey, I'm really sorry that happened. Because things happened, and it's really helpful to know that people are aware that they're happening. I'm going to make a push that we continue to have boards that are made up of at least 2, maybe 3 members who have children in the district. And because this is so important to really accommodate the needs of those board members, every person in the previous few years who have been on the board are doing paid work outside of the house. They've all been women. And the men have been all retired. And I feel like we need to review things. We need more time to review things. We are juggling more things at home. But it's so crucial that we're sitting at this table. The parents who have kids, parents who are working outside the home, and so on. I know parents work inside the home, believe me. And then finally, and I don't think any of this is really surprising to you if you know me, I really do feel like we need to think about how the pandemic has affected us as a district and what we're going to do about it. I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was with an organizational psychologist, Scott Sonnenschein is his name. He's out of Rice University. And he said something that really stood out to me. And he said, the world is always changing. Now it's a racial reckoning and a pandemic. Before this, we had the 2008 recession and the dot-com boom. If you think you're going to come in and operate your business as if it's February 2020, you're going to get crushed. If you think you're you're leading the same workforce, people with the same mindset, the same mentality, the same desires, and the same priorities, you're nuts. You have to change or get out of the way. There's no turning back. This is the big reset, and that's where the hope and opportunity live. So my hope is to look at this as an opportunity. We've all changed these previous couple of years. How are we using it to, as an opportunity to do better? We can't go back to normal. We really can't. And normal didn't work for a lot of people. So my hope is that we identify the things that we learned through the pandemic and address the trauma that all of us has and continues to go through. Pretending that our grief, anger, sadness isn't there doesn't make it go away. It just gets buried and repressed and comes out in harmful ways. So I hope that we continue to acknowledge that. So a couple of people, or actually a lot of people have asked, or they're too polite to ask why I'm not running again, but I'll just share a couple of things. Once again, I'm filled with gratitude, but there were definitely challenging years, lots of changes and transitions, including within myself. Being on the board forced me to get a thicker skin, which was needed, by the way, was definitely needed. But when I realized that my thicker skin was turning into armor, I realized something needed to change. I was starting to lose who I was in this position, and I did not like the person I was becoming, which was hard, bitter, and angry. And I also realized that I was not being my authentic self. I was literally and figuratively wearing a mask since I could not always say what I truly felt. And I felt so out of alignment with my values that I was starting to not recognize myself. In order for me to be who I truly am, I could not stay in this role. I've also neglected my work with all the meetings, lots of prep meeting time. I'm looking forward to going back and doing my job better than I have been the last couple of years. I'm looking forward to working on the grant. I'm not leaving the village. I'm looking forward to spending time with Micah in his last year as we start touring campuses, and I'm going to be an empty nester. So I want some more time for that. So in closing, I'm really grateful. I'm truly grateful for this experience. I do feel like I've changed. There are absolutely remarkable people in the district, and I'm honored to have gotten to know each and every one of you. I also want to make a special shout out to Angie Straub because she is the consummate professional, and the board meeting looks like it's running smoothly only because she's put in all of the hours in advance to do it. And she sets the stage and she prepares us, and she's just wonderful. So I want to say thank you, Angie, for making my time on very easy. So thank you. And I thank the community who wrote to us and called. I read every email, I listened to everybody, and a huge thanks to my friends and family who are all supportive during all this, and I wouldn't have made it without you. So thank you all. Those are just my reflections and thoughts, and once again, I'm walking out of here overwhelmingly filled with gratitude for what I learned and what all of you are going to accomplish afterwards. So thanks.
Gosh. Yeah. Thank you very much, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, When I first got on the board, it was a race. And it was 5 people going for 2 positions. And so it was kind of different. They had some debates, and so I went to the debates, and everybody's suit and tie. I come in my sweatshirt. I work with my hands, and that's what I did. And we talked, and one person got weeded out because there's 5 coming down to 4, and then we had another debate, and we worked things through. And that debate, to tell you honest to God truth, I was sicker than a dog. My gut was just cranking on me, and I'm sitting there going through a cold sweat and trying to stay with this thing. But and at the very end, then everything just cleaned up on me, and then I could come in with a good finish, and was lucky enough to win on the election, you know. But a lot of it starts way before that. When I was in kindergarten, they were building a high school. And we weren't McFarland Spartans, we were the Cardinals. And so the first graduating class was 1965, and they were here for 2 years. And the first class that was 4 years was 67, and my older brother was in that class. But I got to see a lot of things change, and we were Spartans. And we were Spartans because of Gene Olson, an English teacher here, that helped push that along, because a Spartan is a warrior, and they're very good. And so it came from Gene Olson, who was a tremendous English teacher, taught Latin, Academy D. I was scared to death of him in school. I'd rather take on a wrestling coach in an argument than to deal with him lashing me with a tongue, because he could just tear you right down. But he was very good at teaching, and he was a very good person. And so that's how McFarland kind of got it rolling. I just want to say that, yeah, I went through the system. I came back as a night janitor, and worked nights down here for 5 years. That was in the 80s, the farm crisis years, and tipped everybody's world kind of upside down. But I got to see what the teachers were doing. I got to clean my rooms. I'd come in behind them, and I could see what they're doing on the walls, how they're teaching, what their challenges was. Got to know them and talk to them, and sat in their break rooms with them, and listened to them, what they went, because I didn't walk their walk. And I always respected my teachers and had great relationships. And my teachers that I had, they were a big influence to me. And I'd see them at school, and I'd see them at church, and I'd see them in the grocery store. You know, and when I got out of school, I played softball against them. You know, so they was like an extension of a family to me. And so, going through all that, I could understand what their challenges was to bring it along with the board, and that helped a lot. And I just know that you just have to be honest to yourself, never vote a lie. And you do that. There's one time I didn't vote what I believed in, and it just ate me up, and I'll never do it again. I don't care what happens. I'll vote what I think is right and let it chips fall where they may, and we go on from there. And because that's one thing, we ain't just a group of people that's all going to be in harmony, and we're going to have different opinions, and that's what makes us better. And if politics today was like this board is now, we'd be fixing things. You don't have to be associated with any party to be a board member. You come here to do what's best for kids, and also what's fiscally responsible. And the board has improved on all of its management of it, and they work together, and I don't care who sits down in here, if we have that philosophy, we're gonna win, and it's best for the kids. State standards based testing, I thought, was a big help, because I didn't know where we really stood against other schools, how our kids can compete when they get outside. I listened to the kids that came back for homecoming, and they would share their experiences at college, and then they would argue about what their expectations were different in different schools. And that told me if our kids could go to any school and still compete and I thought that was great. And Scott Brown, he was phenomenal. He took the numbers, and so when we had our state testing, we could see where we rank in the county. And that made a difference, because then that's where the rubber meets the road. That's what's best for our kids, and that's a big deal, because you have to know that every district has challenges. Every district's going to have issues that may be the same, may not, but you all gotta get, them kids are here for 12 years, and they gotta get the best shot they're gonna get to be successful in life. And our community supports that. And McFarland has a great community. I have a couple things I'd like to see the future board look at, and I think they have to. Tom Allen is right. The property is back for sale again over there by the Hope Rod and Gun Club for a new building site for a school. You're gonna need that, and you're gonna need that in 10, maybe 15 years, but 10 years possibly. It depends when everything pops up across the 12 and 18 and them 8,000 homes, and our school district's gonna double. And so I was hoping to get that accomplished through our referendum, through the interest money we made on our money when we put it in the bank until we paid out our bills. But like any building project, there was things that came up that were unexpected. We had to adapt, and that kind of went with it. We did good business with us. We have a phenomenal school here. But that site out on Sigacol Road, and it's the McFarland farm. Harvey McFarland and his son Tom, I can't remember the other brother's name. It was Tom and there's one we talked to and another one. There's two brothers. Joe, thank you. And if we could, that would be very good, either for a middle school, but I think more or less at that time, it'll probably be a high school, and this will look at being a middle school campus with the middle school and high school together, because if we double, you're gonna need both schools. And middle school kids don't drive cars, and so we'll have parking lot to handle the people. If we have the high school that size, we're not gonna be able to handle the kids. We're gonna have cars parked all over the town. So that's something that I think you really gotta look at. Don't forget and stay on it, because I think it's very important in that. So, I like to thank everyone, because I got to watch our new superintendent come in and grow, and you're good. You're good, Aaron, and proud of you.
Thank you.
And you're gonna switch this. You're gonna make things fly. And thank you, sir, for stepping up in here and filling in the shoes. And I tell you, you're one hell of a man. Because you, I think they could drop you in any district and you would walk right through that thing. You're phenomenal. So anybody that had you, huh?
Experience helps.
Well, you got a good read. But I'd like to thank everybody. Thank everybody for supporting me and what I go through. I do have a different way of looking at things. I take a long way around the barn. I have a lot of things, there's many ways to skin a cat, And there's a whole host of different things I could go through. But to be honest with you, I live this blue. That's what I am. Thank you.
Well, I guess we've got a couple new members that need to take the oath here. So why don't we move on to that?
Do we have to?
You want the legal answer to that question?
I know what it is.
Where would you like us to do this?
Let's
Would you rather stand over here or over here?
Either way.
Doesn't matter.
Why don't you go back by them,
Okay.
Christine?
All right, so me, and this is for you, these are the official documents that we'll sign, but that's also the official oath you have to say. So, do you want to go ahead and start, Tom?
Sure. I, Tom Lee, have been elected or appointed to the office of school board member, but have not yet entered the duties thereof, swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Okay. I, Megan Fessler, having been elected or appointed to this office of school board member, but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof, swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
And then that's yours. And then we actually do have to sign those. That's the official document. Do we do it right now, Angie? Yeah.
And there is a pen over there if you'd like.
Craig, if I could just say something real quick here while I'm
Please.
signing, but we have some special guests
Yes, we
that
do.
came tonight, and I
Yes,
just
we
wanted
do.
to
Please do.
recognize them. We have Betsy, who is Angie, before Angie was Angie, and
Yeah.
did an outstanding job, and Donna Meyer, Betsy
Donna.
Price and Donna Meyer. And then we have the superintendent that
Ken.
I had the opportunity to work under for many, many years, Dr. Ken Brittingham, all the way from out east here tonight. We have more superintendents in this room than really should ever be.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a little intimidating at times.
We won't accomplish much, probably.
Welcome.
Talk a lot.
Yes.
I can talk, Betsy, she, great secretary, neighbor, and, her son was down on my farm all the time. He was down with Ty Reed and Mikey and. He was a good kid. Had a lot of fun with him. And he worked, he did good. And Donna, you're quite a lady. By God, you know, you're real and you helped in many different places. And Ken Brittingham, that was quite an ordeal. We got on, Dave Hendricks and I got on the board, and it wasn't very long, and the superintendent quit or retired. And we went into a superintendent search, and it was a big committee, and it all worked through. And Ken Brittingham, top shelf. He handled things. He has more patience than I could ever believe anybody could have. But he knows how to work it, and he's real. He could walk in any classroom and it'd be comfortable. And our district grew. And Scott worked underneath him, and he was about the greatest mentor that Scott could get to do the job that Scott did as a superintendent also. We were very fortunate. But that jumped this district. And so whenever you're a difference maker, that's what the game is. That's what you want to be. And those guys did it, and ladies, because they moved mountains. That things really did. We had a lot of challenges, but it all got straightened around. So.
And
Very-
Ken Scour, the two superintendents here when I was superintendent of Mount Orab, so. We were both.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's it.
There's folks out there that shaped this district, and the district wouldn't be what it is today without folks like you, Betsy.
Yeah.
And you, Ken, and you, all of you folks. I've been here through it all. Yeah, I've lived here 50-plus years, and I've seen what this district has, where it's come from, and where we're well on the road to becoming now. And I'm honored to have you people in this room. It took Ireland to get you all back here, but thanks for coming. And pay attention to what's going on. We need people like you. When you see something that we're doing wrong, we need to hear from you. all of you are too valuable a resource to just be here in McFarland and not help us out. Don't ever be afraid to tell us what we're doing wrong. Because sometimes we don't see the forest for the trees. So again, thank you, Arlen, Christine. It's been a pandemic, and I came here a month after Act 10, and Christine got here in time to handle the pandemic. So we've been through the battles. So I would look for a motion for adjournment.
I so move.
Arlen, do I have a second? Christine, that's only appropriate. Thank you very much. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries 5-0.